everybody. Time for another night of Rebel Rock Radio. And man, you know what? That logo does not match with the background. That's awesome. So, this is episode number 186, and tonight we will be continuing our Rebels retrospective, celebrating the month of October, which is the 10th anniversary. What was that? 10th anniversary of the release of Rebels. So we decided to spend all month talking about Rebels. So
as much as we could, anyway.
As much as we can, yeah. So tonight we're going to be kind of focusing on season 2. And to help us with this process tonight, we have brought on a special guest who has been on the show a few times. Let's welcome Ro from Scarif Scuttlebutt.
What's up, everybody?
How's it going?
It's going good. I'm glad you asked me on this one because season 2 of Rebels rocked. See what I did there?
It was yeah. It was
Man.
good. It was a good one. It was a good one. All right. Well, let's jump in the chat room, see who we got. We've got Matthew. I think he's leaving. He's probably got something going on with this kid, but he'll be back. We've got the CEO of Star Wars Non-Toxic Alliance. Welcome back.
Welcome.
Wait, there's a non-toxic alliance?
There is.
Yes.
It's on Facebook,
it's a very, very, very good Facebook group. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, they are very awesome, non-toxic, good discussions, and they try to weed through the toxic part of the fan base as much as they can and do what they can to keep it decent and awesome for people who just want to enjoy Star Wars.
Not so easy sometimes.
Yeah.
Not at all. I don't have Facebook, so
that's understandable. Let's see. We've got Steve Spawn back with us. How's it going, Steve?
Steve!
Woo-hoo. And we have Smirking Bear. How is it going there, Mr. Bear?
I like that. Rebel Jedi JD. I like it.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Why am I a rebel trooper? I am not a rebel trooper. Do you not watch the show enough? The rebel should not be anywhere near my name.
Sith Lord Steve.
Boba Fett. You will call me Boba Fett.
Boba Fett. Oh, God.
All right. So, like I said, we will be talking season 2. We will have our show and tell coming up here in a little while. And, of course, it would not be Rebel Rock Radio without the rock portion. So let's kick things off with our first song of the evening. And this first one comes to us from New York City. The name of the band is Weegee. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And they have a new album coming out on October 31st. I think it's called Primitive Thrills, but I could be wrong about that. That is what the press release said, but I have my doubts. Anyway, that is coming out on October 31st by Dot Dash Sounds, and we will be playing the first single from that album. So here is Spellbound.
clouded my sight. Now it's tears won't let go. I almost made you forget. Darling, wonderful weather. The blues, he felt it felt so. She froze, but she never got cold. Too much reading in the morning. She felt different. We laugh from between our legs. The legs shuddered, I saw it shudder. And the eyes pierced mine till my eyes rolled out of my head and into the lap. Lips trembled to kiss, but they tucked in. And your faded to black. Nice tears, one red. You kinda like to forget. Darling, I touched the nail and it was warm. You kinda like to forget. You feel soft. Blocked out around. The sun came up, and I think that something gonna make my way inside to your private parts. And now it's dark. I prayed to angels for answers, but only demons can. And then the devil ran.
All right. Spellbound by Weegee.
That was a long one.
Was it?
It was a long one, but appropriate because, I mean, it is October. I mean, it is the month
Yeah.
of Halloween.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
it is
is.
a month for Halloween. Anybody who disagrees with me, just go away because but October's Halloween month. But it was appropriate. I liked it. It was good. It fit
Oh,
the
you know
month.
what? Yeah, I just checked the runtime on that song, and yeah, you're right. That was a pretty long one,
Mm-hmm.
longer than we usually play.
Yeah, I went to work and came back.
Yeah. All right. So, if you're just tuning in, this is Rebel Rock Radio, episode number 186. And we have Ro from Scuttlebutt, Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast with us from the Red 5 Network. And me, Steve, and JD.
And me, as normal.
And it is always squirrel mode on Rebel Rock Radio.
They come out of the woodwork. They could pop up at any time.
They really can, yeah. Those squirrels, man, I'll tell you. All right. Well, we are actually getting very close, JD, to your 1-year anniversary on the show.
Oh.
Yeah, pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, you're well, let's see if I can find your first show. You were still a guest, but I still count it. It was October 17th.
Yeah, very close.
Yeah, and
Awesome.
that was our solo 5 years later broadcast, and then the next week was our Disney Ruined Star Wars.
Controversial.
Yeah.
It went way better than I thought it would.
Yeah,
I thought it was gonna raise way more eyebrows and a lot more hate than what it did, and it didn't do too bad.
All right, so Matthew,
try harder. Try harder next time.
Yeah.
Really.
Now you don't have to try. Now you don't have to try at all. You just got to say you like Disney Star Wars, and it pretty much all of the anger comes out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
So Matthew, what is the difference between Boba Fett and a time machine operated by Marty McFly?
I don't know. Tell us.
I got a feeling the answer is going to.
That's a good one.
One's a Mandalorian, the other's a manned DeLorean. Alrighty.
I'm going to use that later tonight.
Well, on that note,
you know what's better than dad jokes? Star Wars dad jokes.
There you go.
Absolutely.
So, Ro, what have you been up to this week? Anything interesting?
What have I been doing? Not much. This weekend is the Chicago Marathon, so we're prepping for that at the station. I'm going to be working some weird hours at the finish line, so hope to see you there, throwing up as soon as you make that cross the finish line. The first year I was at the finish line, they told me, yeah, people just they get there, their bodies just destroy itself and they throw up, and I'm like, no, I didn't believe it. And then I saw it and I'm like, oh, it's just your body goes through a lot running 26.2 miles. And at the end, your body's just like, bleh.
Yeah, I would throw up before I hit the finish line.
Yeah.
I heard a semi dad joke about that today. That has to do with that. So I'll tell you what to do. It was like I say, semi dad joke, semi joke altogether. But it was a funny statement and a meme that I saw when somebody said the fact that Keith Richards outlived Richard Simmons should tell you everything you need to know about health and fitness.
Hell yeah.
So true.
Agreed.
So true. Makes you want to go,
The fact that Ozzy Osbourne's still alive is just,
yeah.
I mean, really, honestly.
Yeah, crazy. So you guys have another ScarifCon coming up this month, do you not?
We're getting together. Whoever wants to show up, the 20th, have some pizza, some drinks, and just little get together for folks that are here in the Midwest and whoever wants to show up. So
Yeah.
if you want to make the trek through the cornfields of Indiana,
I'm flying over the cornfields of Indiana.
Well, the good thing about being back in Oklahoma is I do not have to drive through Indiana to get to Chicago.
that is a good thing.
I just
Steve?
have to go through Missouri.
Steve always looking at the silver lining.
Yeah, yeah. Much longer drive though. It's about a 12-hour drive.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
but flying there is a lot easier anyway. So
Sure. Yeah.
yeah. Well, JD, what have you been up to this week? Anything
Man,
interesting?
my daughter, as some of you may know, being a senior in college, she's playing some of her last games of soccer. So we get to go watch some of her last home games this weekend, because I think her last couple home games will actually be in Boston, Salem area at the end of October, which are going to be some of her very last games that she's going to play, unless they go to the playoffs, of course. And like I said last week, I was kind of telling people about this last week. We had several of our line crews from the Wichita area, including one of the divisions that I worked in, all went to Kentucky and South Carolina and North Carolina for the hurricane power restoration teams. And the rest of us who were left behind, unfortunately, had to pull standby duty, so we couldn't really go anywhere or do anything other than just to be able to go to my daughter's game. So I pretty much stayed at home and did home projects and played some video games, just waiting for that phone to ring, which fortunately for me it never did. But you can never. It's one of those things that's not predictable. So I pretty much have to sit at home and wait for the phone to ring. So that was my week and weekend, was trying to hold down the fort while those guys were gone. So
no, nothing interesting you were reading or watching or anything like that. Probably catching up on some Rebels, I assume.
That was most of it. When I had free time, I was catching up on Rebels, trying to do because I watched all the Rebels a long time ago when they came out, and then I hadn't watched them since, just because. And then so I was trying to do some recaps and look at it again and watch all the episodes. And of course, the corresponding seasons between 2, 3, and 4, there were a lot of such memorable moments in Star Wars that when you actually do the recap, you go, "Oh yeah, I remember that. Oh yeah, that was in this season," and so on and so on and so on. So yeah, I was doing a lot of that, a lot of research and remembering things and catching up. So yeah, a lot of that.
Very cool.
For sure. So what about you, Steve?
Other than work, not a whole lot. I actually went. What was it? Last Wednesday? I think it was last Wednesday. I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine again.
Again.
Because it's and I was like, it's still in the theater. That's crazy. So I'll go watch that again. So I did that, and then sometime this weekend, I don't remember what day. Sunday I went and saw the new Joker movie.
And without spoilers?
Were you insulted?
Was I insulted?
Were you insulted? Did the filmmaker insult your Joker intelligence? Because that's what I'm hearing, that it's a big FU to the fans. But
I didn't feel like I was insulted, but the movie was not great. It was the first one wasn't that bad. It was certainly not comic book accurate,
right.
But that doesn't mean it was a bad movie.
Mm-hmm.
This one, outside of the acting of Phoenix and Lady Gaga, which was good. Their acting was good. Outside of that, I just didn't like the movie at all. I was like, this is crap. I don't
I've only of many of the circles that I talk to and people that I know that actually, because I like the first one and I haven't got to see the second one yet. Everybody that I've talked to, only one person I know said, "Oh no, it's actually pretty good. I liked it." Everybody else was either or God, that was horrible.
I have only talked to one person that has said that they loved it.
I haven't seen it either, and I was reading, a couple of different takes and reviews and breakdowns of what the who's the director, Todd Phillips,
Yeah,
what his what his goals were outside of just making another Joker movie, and I kind of get it now. Now I'm eager to see it because of that. I remember watching the first movie, and it didn't really make a huge impact on me. It was
yeah,
okay. It wasn't like, oh my god, this is like amazing. I didn't hate it, but I didn't like go overboard about you know talking about it. It was just there.
yeah,
So it's interesting to me, if the message of Todd Phillips is correct in some of the breakdowns that I've heard, then it would interest me to see it, just to see how maybe people are misinterpreting the functionality of this film,
mhm,
or how, why people are so up in arms about seeing this character being, and there's no other way of saying it, but seeing this character being deconstructed for a reason. I know we've had other instances where characters in our beloved franchises have been deconstructed, but it doesn't seem like there was a reason for that. There might have been a reason for this in this particular instance, making Joker 2, but I'll when I do check it out, that's one of the biggest reasons I would want to see it, just to experience it. And I know people are saying, well, it's not liked because it's a musical. And I think from some of the things that I've heard, the musical aspect is probably not like at the top of the list of why people didn't like it. I know musicals
yeah,
aren't popular to begin with, but there are two musicals that I have enjoyed, and I'm not a musical kind of guy. If you remember Evita with Madonna and Antonio
Mm-hmm.
Banderas,
mhm,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful, beautiful movie. And another movie that I was surprised, I didn't even know it was a musical until I sat in the theater, and then they started singing, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? It was Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet with
yeah,
Claire Danes, I think, and a young Leo DiCaprio, which I
I
think it was his most awesome performance. That guy can act at any age, and I was blown away by that movie.
yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I loved that movie, and the soundtrack to it was excellent.
Oh
It
yeah,
was
it's
good.
I actually really enjoyed that movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
Really,
absolutely.
really enjoyed that movie.
I've got
Yeah,
the
and I didn't
soundtrack.
realize that
Yeah,
either because I don't know who the black guy is in it. I've seen him in a few other movies,
yeah,
but I thought, I mean, just the performance that he gave
yeah.
was awesome. And then,
Hmm.
like you said, Claire Danes and Leonardo DiCaprio and the whole thing. I mean, it was great. It looked all like modern stuff, but it was all done in the dialect of Shakespeare. It
Right.
was an outstanding movie. I loved it.
Yes. Agree.
Yeah.
Go see it, chat.
I am trying to find that guy's name because he is.
It's a French name, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Like,
Harold. It's Harold Perrineau.
yeah.
Perrineau. But yeah, he's been in other stuff, like
Hmm.
a lot of stuff. He was in. Well, he was in the couple of the Matrix sequels. But now I'm trying to remember where
Yeah,
I
he played one of the operators in the Matrix in this. He was in the TV show Lost.
that
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, uh-huh. And 28 Weeks Later was one of his bigger ones.
hmm
It says he had a role in Sons of Anarchy, but I never really watched. I missed some of that, so I didn't get to see a lot of that. And what there was another notable movie that that he was in.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find. I could've
Zero
sworn-
Dark 30. If you know that what that movie is, a military movie.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one that he was in?
28 weeks later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, he was really good in that movie too. I really enjoyed his performance in that too. And yeah, a lot of everything from that movie was really good. If you folks in the chat have not seen it, really do go see it. It's an
Paul-
excellent version of the movie.
Yeah, Paul Sorvino's in that.
Yep.
John Leguizamo, Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good actors from today that are in it that you just don't
Yeah.
realize.
Yeah. But yeah, as far as the Joker, the fact that it was a musical like had no bearing on it, didn't make it any better or any worse.
Sure. Yeah.
It was just-
I have heard that there might be maybe one or two musical pieces that were more than it was needed. That at a certain point it just got too much. But I mean, I'll still probably watch it just to get an opinion.
I will say that I felt like it was unnecessary. It didn't do anything to help the film.
Mm.
I think it probably would have been better received if they actually did that in the first movie. Like if they did something similar in the first movie, like it was part of his insanity or something like that, was he was hearing music.
Or
in his head or something.
or at least hinted at in the first movie, so it's explained in the second movie. You know?
I think it would have been better received, and this is just a theory, if they had not made the movie to begin with.
Yes.
It really, I mean,
there is that. Sure.
It really seemed unnecessary. Like you get to the whole thing and get to the end, and you're like, well, okay.
And I think that was Todd Phillips' point. When based on some of the breakdowns that I've read, I think that was his point, and that was the reasoning behind how he directed it and made it.
Yeah.
But
I did hear a lot of arguments when the first one came out that people said, well, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is superior, and I said absolutely not.
Absolutely not. No,
I said absolutely not. There's no way. And then I had conversations with a couple buddies of mine that when they thought that way, they said, "Oh, no, Heath Ledger for sure."
oh yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that Phoenix is bad at what they've given him to play.
he's a brilliant actor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But superior Joker.
Jared Leto.
Don't even start, man. I'm going to give you the wrench. Oh man. Anyway, that was my week. Not really a whole lot. We were going to do our Star Wars RPG like we said last week, but some things came up. Some things came up among a couple of the players, and we just decided to postpone for a while. But that's been really fun so far. I'm looking forward to the next one.
I've been to one out of the two, and it was a lot of fun. It was comical. It was funny. We had a good time.
Yeah,
for our Patreons, you get to watch it and see the comedy ensue and the adventure. So,
I will say that based on your absence from that second one, I don't want to do that again. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do another one where not everyone's going to be there, because it just, especially moving on now, because there's going to be so much going on now. Mm-hmm. Like I feel like these first two sessions were really a lot of setup for the story. Like now we're getting into the meat, and
if you have to NPC somebody, that's not going to work.
It's not going to work. Now, speaking of Patreon, you mentioned Patreon because those games are available to view just for our patrons. And if you are not already part of our Patreon crew, those of you out there that are helping us pay our StreamYard bill, it's a great time to do it, because you can watch those Star Wars games and you can watch the other bonus content, which we actually do have some more bonus content coming out soon. Specifically, we've got something special planned for the month of October. I'm not gonna
Mm-hmm.
go into specifics, but we will have something out there.
Will there be candy corn?
Oh hell no!
I'll bring the candy corn.
You can have candy corn.
I'll bring the candy corn pumpkins. I'll bring pumpkin spice freaking stuff because I'm weird like that.
You if you're gonna bring candy, you have to bring those generic orange peanut butter.
Yes. The ones wrapped in orange and black.
Yes, yes.
Buckets and buckets of those.
Yes. So if you are not one of our patrons, you can sign up. It's only $2 a month. Less than a cup of coffee per day.
We're cheaper than coffee.
We're cheaper than coffee in more ways than one.
Wrap your head around that one for a minute. Wrap your head around that for a minute. We're cheaper than coffee.
So I said, in more ways than one. Sometimes you come to the show and you catch us playing with our thingies.
Oh God, let's not do that again. If it's not playing with our things, it's coffee enemas, or there's some weird Quackian monkey lizard that's giving us crap in the chat. I mean, come on. You can't get that kind of entertainment out of coffee.
Never
out of your $8 coffees.
So just go to our bio link right there, bio.link/Rebel Rock Radio. And there is a link to our Patreon there. You can sign up. And for those of you that are new to signing up, you will get a free swag pack of stickers. And I believe somebody in our chat room just received their swag bag, which actually wasn't a swag bag. It was a swag envelope. But yeah, so it would be a great time to join the party. And one other benefit that you get for being a patron is we give you a shout out on our show. So without further ado, thank you to our patrons, Dave Brown, Kelly and Chris, Justin Hensley, Charlie Kirby, Chantel, Matthew, who is in the chat room with us, and Steve Spawn, who is also in the chat room, and he is the aforementioned receiver of said swag pack. I think he said in the Discord that he did finally receive it.
Good.
So that's good.
Good.
So sign up for a patron and get your name read out aloud and
tattooed on your ass.
It's got to be a lot more than $2 for that one.
And access to exclusive shenanigans.
Yes.
Wait a minute, Steve. Then you owe me $2 then.
I can't imagine what that $2 tattoo looks like.
All right. So yeah, $2 a month. And now I forgot what I was going to say. Squirrel, take a drink. Those are the rules.
Cheers.
Those are the rules. Anytime I get off track, everybody has to drink.
It's October. A good apple cider will do.
Oh, that'll work.
Very nice. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It had something to do with Patreon. Oh, yeah. So if you would like to be a patron and help us pay our StreamYard bill, because the StreamYard fees have jumped up.
Have gone up.
Have gone up quite considerably. So we do appreciate all of those who are giving to the cause. Yeah, let's talk about candy corn here. I never really did like candy corn.
Oh God! Oh, here we go.
Even when I was able to eat candy before I got diabetes, I was not really a fan.
Sucks to be you.
Not if I don't like candy corn.
You're missing out. You're missing out on a crucial part of life with candy corn.
No. So Matthew says, I heard as soon as they hit 10 patrons, Steve will get a tramp stamp on his lower back. Too late. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
This is the TMI show. How are you doing?
Well,
I'm gonna pull out my thingy again.
Oh God.
Oh man, it just fell apart. God damn it.
what people don't know is that Steve already had a tramp stamp put on his lower back, but now he's looking for a doctor to remove the Red 5 Network logo off of his back.
That's not a tramp stamp on my lower back. That was on my ass.
Had to pick a butt cheek.
Yeah.
It's always the right one. It's always the right one.
It is the right one, yeah. But no candy corn. I was not a fan. I did actually like those orange and black
the peanut butter ones.
Yeah, those I actually did like. Yeah, there you go, Matthew. Candy corn teaches you disappointment.
Man, whatever, Steve. Man, Matthew. Whatever, dude.
So what? I mean, we do have Halloween coming up, but what was your favorite Halloween candy growing up?
Like candy that you can only find on Halloween?
Not necessarily.
Oh, Reese's peanut butter cups then.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, what other? I mean, besides candy corn and the pumpkins, and then the candy that you mentioned, what other candy can you only find on Halloween?
Well, that's what I was going to say. If you said only candy you can find on Halloween, I'd have said candy corn.
I mean, there were those Brock's. Oh, man,
the caramel things.
Were they caramel? They were like
the ones with the white center.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of remember those.
Yeah.
But I think I remember more the black and the red peanut butter ones that you mentioned. Those are very Halloween.
Well, another thing that you would find, I wouldn't say you'd only find it on Halloween, but more often on Halloween than any other time of the year, you'd find the very small packaged candies like
like little M&Ms.
Like the really tiny ones.
I did discover, however, that one of my favorite candies that's a seasonal candy was Cadbury eggs.
Oh yeah.
And they now make a Halloween version of them with a green center.
Wow.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, Matthew. I remember those too. Everybody would make those popcorn balls.
I only remember popcorn balls from movies and cartoons when I see them there. I never encountered a popcorn ball in real life.
Yeah. In the plastic wrap that was too sticky. Yeah.
Way too sticky.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember it. Caramel apples.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Chicago, we are the home of Affy Tapples. So
Affy Tapples.
we got that company going for us.
Now they make them all year round, and you can get them with like literally anything on them.
Did you guys make your own? Did you guys make your own taffy apples? Remember the big round caramel circles that you had to warm up and then stick the apple in it and wrap it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I remember there was one house growing up that they would just give fruit.
Fruit?
Just fruit.
Did you TP it?
No.
A lot of that stuff you can't even do anymore because the parents won't take it because you never know what's in it. So you can't even do half that stuff, like the balls of popcorn or the like fruit, and then you had the people that were lazy about it. They set out a bowl of candy and say, "Please take one," and like it was like right after Halloween trick or treating started, and the entire bowl was already gone because some kid just literally picked it up and dumped it in, and that was it. Those are the lazy people.
Yeah.
I think that's almost worse than not handing out candy because then you just go by there and go, okay, they're just not giving out candy. But then this guy puts out a bowl and then somebody steals all the candy. It makes you want to TP their house even worse because that's just plain laziness.
Oh, that is nasty, Matthew.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Ugh.
Peeps.
Yeah, those are gross.
I mean,
Okay,
those
I'm not
those were
gonna
over
lie.
from. You like Peeps?
I like Peeps. I'm
They're
sorry, I do. I like the Peeps,
they're a holdover from Easter, aren't they?
but they make Halloween ones now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, they are one of the another one that's I think a Easter exclusive, but now they make for Halloween as well. You can get them in like purple for Frankenstein, and some of them are zombie green, and yeah. And I like the Peeps. I don't know. I don't understand people gripe about the Peeps. It's just basically it's like marshmallow with this candy stuff on the
Right.
outside, you know. So
Yeah.
I like the Peeps. I don't know. Weird.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I remember the Smirking Bear Studio says we had a lot of candy shoots during COVID here in Chicago too.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
not a bad idea.
During COVID, I mean that was pretty much
Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, that grandma's neighbor would give out full-size Hershey bars, and when he ran out, he'd give out $2 bills.
Damn.
Okay.
That's one of them places you have a change of costumes and you go back several times, or you just turn it inside out and something like that.
Yeah. I used to live in a building where the two women that lived on the first floor would go to Costco and buy $500 worth of candy, but the big size, the king size Snicker bars,
Wow.
the 4 packs of Reese's peanut butter cups. I mean, they went to town.
Mm.
Yeah.
Man.
And they would leave like 6 or 8 bushels in the entryway and then tell the people in the building, that we got first dibs. And I'm like, all right, I'm there.
All right. Sounds good.
It works.
And I still don't have diabetes.
I don't want to hear it. You bastard. No.
That I know of.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know I had it until I had it. So,
Yeah.
all right. I think it is time for another music break. So, we've got another one coming out of New York City. This one is from Sister Thieves. And they have an album coming out on October 25th entitled Crawl. And this is the first single from that album. It's called Human. Dun, dun, dun. Right. Sister Thieves with Human.
I think you honestly should continue this theme of like Halloween oriented songs because that one could be that way too.
Yeah,
I think we should keep up that theme for the whole month.
well, it depends on what gets sent to me, so we'll see.
Yeah, definitely.
Because like I say, I get enough stuff sent to me. I don't generally have to go out looking for music to play. Isaac, how's it going?
Hey, Isaac.
Woohoo!
Good to have you again. Oh, you know what time it is? It is time for, and I didn't do music again, so you're gonna have to listen to me sing it.
Dun
Show and
dun
tell
dun
time, show and tell time, show and tell.
dun dun dun.
There you go. It is show and
Go.
tell time. And let's see what you got. Do you want me to go first?
Go ahead. You go first because I got a good one.
Okay. Well,
I got a good
you're
one.
saying mine's not good. It's
I don't know what yours is. I'm just
kinda
saying
lame.
I think mine is a good one.
So, okay. I used to work for this company that made electronic products. And one of the, they did a lot of night lights, and I mean, they did more than night lights, but they did a lot of night lights was a very big part of, well, lighting in general was a very big part of their business. And so for their night lights, they secured the contract with Disney Star Wars. Well, Disney in general. So they did a lot of Star Wars themed night lights. And so the guys that worked in the lighting department knew that I was a Star Wars fan. So I always got to, I guess we can say, play test them as they were doing their beta tests and stuff like that. So I got to play with those. And then when they were released, I usually got some pretty cool things out of the box. So this is from a while back, but I don't think I've ever shown it on this show before because we didn't do show and tell. But this is a Darth Vader nightlight that was made by that company.
Nice.
So there were four. There was a Darth Vader, a First Order Stormtrooper, a BB-8, and an R2D2.
I seen the Vader at Target, and I was gonna get it, but I was gonna wait until it went down in price.
Yeah,
it's a nice sculpt.
It is. It's very nice.
Mhm.
And then when you light it up, its eyes turn red.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Nice.
It's pretty cool. I didn't take it out of the box because
I've got the big version of that. Remember how
Got
they
the-
had the big half face like he was coming out of the wall?
Mhm.
There's an R2D2, there's a Yoda, there's a Boba Fett, and the Vader obviously I got because Vader's my boy.
Smoking Bear says, "Show and tell your thingies." Well, I just showed you my thingies. So.
It was quite handsome thingy that you have there.
And, JD's going to show us his thingy, and Ro, do you have a thingy to show?
I love showing thingies.
All right, show and tell your thingy.
Go ahead, JD, because that box.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. So
Very nice.
what I have is actually the precursor to Vader. I got this, and this came up for sale on Disney Store a couple weeks ago, and I purchased me one. Now, normally I don't buy these unless they're Black Series, but this one I haven't seen anywhere else. And when it became available at Disney parks, I was like, oh yeah, I gotta own this. So I will unbox it for you folks. But it is the Darth Revan helmet.
Nice.
Yeah, so let me get
Took
that
it
out of
along with my Black Series Darth Revan action figure.
So let me get this out of the box here.
You're gonna put it on, right?
Oh, of course. If I can get it out of the box without hurting it.
Yeah.
Ugh, let's see here. Oh, come on. There we go. We gotta get up that buddy.
No, Matthew, it's
There
not
we go.
a factory.
I saw that. How do we know for sure, Steve?
Just take my word for it. It was not a Fear Factory.
The cloak, how
There
long
you
is?
go.
Oh, it's just like the little head covering. That's cool
Yeah, it's
though.
just a well, I think I've got it actually. Hey, let me see something here real quick. I think I have it. It's actually secured in here. So I think you can undo it. It's got little snaps on the inside, which is
But it's
kind of
not the
I have
whole.
not.
But it's not the whole cloak, like the whole body, right?
No, it's if you look at it in the back, it kind of
Yeah.
goes up in the back. So that way you could wear it like with a cloak
Sure.
of your own if you had your own cloak, but it kind of tucks in a little bit in the back
Yeah.
like that. So that way so let's see.
All right. Let's check it out. Very nice.
Very cool.
Very cool.
So yeah.
Very nice. You sound just like him.
Yeah.
Yeah, inside the mask. Yeah. Heck yeah. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got little snaps in the front, like I said, so you can secure this up. I think I actually undid it, but you can snap it back. So that way you can either take
Oh,
it
nice.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can either take the cloak off or you leave it on and you put it up, and then it just kind of it would match a robe in the front, which would be kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Very nice.
So yeah, the Darth Revan helmet. That is that is actually still up on the Disney Store website or app if you have it. And yeah, it seems like I mean, for the most part, it seems here, let me do this.
Oh yeah. That's
So
cool.
that's what it looks like without the cloak on.
Yeah.
So it looks like that there. And then you throw the cloak back up and
Very
you get
nice.
the whole effect. So
Very
yeah,
cool.
pretty cool.
What did that set you back?
Oh, I think this was like only $80.
That's not bad.
No, actually it's
No.
not. And it's really good. It seems like, I mean, from what I'm seeing right here right now is it's really decent quality. It's really good. I mean, the paint and everything on it is pretty nice. I mean, it's plastic. Obviously it's plastic. So I mean, but most of the Dark Series helmets are dark. The Black Series helmets are the same way. They're all
Mhm.
the same kind of deal. But actually, this is the first one I have seen from either Black Series or Disney that I know of that actually comes with an actual like cloth
Right.
cloth cloak that comes with it. So
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
pretty
really,
cool.
all you would need is the chest piece
Right.
and the rest of the robe, and you already have the helmet and cloak, and you're good to go. I mean, this wouldn't be a bad cosplay piece if you wanted it. And like I said, for $80.
Sure.
And when I was looking through it, I mean, if I had my contacts in, when I was looking through it, the sight visibility on the inside is not bad at all. So I mean, it's a pretty decent piece. I mean, I'm going to put it up with my Black Series stuff because I mean, it's a Revan mask, and I think
Yeah.
it's awesome. So yeah, I really enjoy it. Like I said, it's good quality fabric. The mask itself seems like it's pretty decent and not uncomfortable to wear. Pretty nice. So yeah,
Very nice. Cool.
there you
Excellent.
go. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Nice. So, Ro, do you have something to show and tell?
Yeah. So, I love supporting like local artists. I've got a couple of friends that have created some original Star Wars art. There's an artist here in Chicago, John Rodriguez, who I have an AT-AT and Snowspeeder from The Empire Strikes Back that he signed and he created for me. I put it in a frame. I've got other artists that I love. When I go to festivals and stuff like that, some of these local artists are just wonderful, wonderful art pieces. One of my buddies, Sean Crummell, created a comic book, and I purchased his first edition signed comic book called Smacked in the Head. And it's here it is. It's a really great artwork that Sean does. He's the artist of this character. He wants to make this into an animated show, and I would love to see it. It's called Smacked in the Head, and you can buy some of these limited edition signed books at Crumbs Comics, KRUMS comics.com. And it's really, really great. He's a good guy, and an even better artist. So he's got a great story going with these. I hope to see him continue the work. I know he's working on the second edition, but the first comic book is out, and he puts a lot of work into his art, and he deserves more success than anyone I know. So
That's
great
awesome.
artist, Sean Crummell, and yeah, you can follow him on Twitter. He
So
is the
here-
real Sean Crummell.
So I'm going to put the link in the show description, but here is, well, where'd it go? I just saw it a second ago. There we go.
Yep.
Very cool. Yeah. So yeah, I'll put a link to this in our show description, and if that looks like something that is of interest to you, go check it out.
Yeah, for sure.
'Cause I will most likely be checking it out. Crumbs Comics. Go check them out. Yeah. Bear says, Steve's comic addiction like JD influences Steve. Yeah. Yeah. Well.
Well, you know.
You know, what are you going to do?
I'm not directly, but Steve goes, ooh, well, look what JD has. And then the next thing you know, he's trying to buy one.
You know,
That's what
though, I did, I have been able to keep myself from joining that subscription thing that you're on. I figured, like, I've already got that, like, encyclopedia subscription,
Mm-hmm.
and that's already setting me back, you know, some money per month. And I don't need now once I get that encyclopedia set completed, I can always jump over to the other collection.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think I've still got a ways before that encyclopedia collection is done. All right. Well, that was show and tell. We'll be back with some more goodies next week. But for now,
I want to quickly ask JD, are you at a saturation point at some point? Like, are you close?
To what do you mean?
As far as collectibles?
You mean like where I can't get any more?
Yeah, more or less. I mean,
yeah.
I know we can, but then look at our walls back here. So it's like,
well, see, this is something I tell people all the time because this is just a fraction. This is just a portion of what I actually have, and I usually try to change it around a little bit so people can see it. I need to actually do one in the front room so you can see the big wall that I have in the front room. But yes, I'm reaching a point where I'm gonna have to either start selling things or I'm gonna have to buy a bigger house. Well, in today's market, we all know how the bigger house thing goes. So,
so you're going to buy a bigger house, yeah? Okay.
So, unfortunately, I think I'm actually going to have to do that dreaded S word that all of us collectors hate to do, and I'm going to have to put some stuff up for sale because it's getting ugly. I mean, it really is getting ugly. I have stuff hidden behind other stuff.
Okay, well then I call dibs on that TIE fighter behind you.
Yeah, of course.
Is that the first order one, the newer one?
Yes, that's the Black Series first order, the huge 6-inch playset one that you have to. Yeah, it's that one.
I missed an opportunity. I was at Ross's and they were selling it for $14. I said, it's too big. If it's still here tomorrow, I'll come and get it. I went back the next day, gone.
Oh man,
$14.
I actually bought that when it first came out on like a special Christmas sale at Toys R Us when Toys R Us was still around.
Yeah.
Isaac, that's what I've been telling them all these weeks, man.
Yeah.
Get yourself a shed.
I have told this to other people, my friends of mine, and they said, well, why don't you just build like an extension on your house, or why don't you build? And I'm going, sure, let me just fork out the cash for that. It'll be no problem.
But it's never going to be enough. That's how Steven Sansweet started.
Yeah. Yeah, you could, I mean, yeah, I've seen guys, well, there one dude that I've seen a YouTube channel, or not a YouTube channel, they did an interview with this guy, and he literally will buy everything Star Wars. It does not matter what it is. He is a completist, and he will buy everything and pays unlimited amounts of money for it. And his house is completely, I mean, full of everything. He has no other decorations in his home. That's how big his collection is.
He must be single.
Yeah, he's got to be. Either that or his wife is
He
incredibly
is now.
Yeah.
He didn't used to be, but now he is.
Yeah.
Oh man. So I suppose he can loan you a tent. I think that's gonna take care of it though.
Yeah. Somebody was like, one of my buddies was like, "Why don't you just put some stuff in storage?" I'm like, "What's the point of having it in storage?
Yeah.
I'm not going to buy something to put it in storage. That's not how I work. I'm not doing that."
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, Bear is here to help you. He is here to help you.
I store some collections in my house
He will
also.
store-
Yeah, I'm sure you
Come
will.
on, he is taking one for the team.
I'm sure you will.
I've been wanting to sell a lot of my newer Black Series action figures to display some of my vintage action figures, and I also have a couple of collections of the Burger King Star Wars glasses, if you remember those.
Oh yeah,
and I would love to put those out. I too only can display a fraction of my. I was telling Steve I could open a George Lucas Star Wars museum here in Chicago now that it's gone from the city, but I can open up my own warehouse. I think the old Michael Jordan Steakhouse 3 floors is available. So if you guys want to invest, I would need 13 mil from each of you. We'll set it up. The bottom floor will be the gift shop, of course, after they come up and see the rest of our fairs. I'm sure they would want to leave with a gift or two.
Well,
Steve is logging into a bank account just to see.
Yeah, let me just cut you a check.
Yeah.
No, I am. I'm having a hard enough time coming up with $45 a month for StreamYard.
If I had $13 million, trust me, there would be no saturation point. I would figure out a way to make sure there was no saturation point.
Yeah.
So yeah. It kind of got bad for me because you can't see behind the screen. But for me, I ended up inheriting 6 crates of books from someone who had stuff from not only the EU but the current. And I decided to display all of them, and it went insane after that.
You know what I should have showed off for show and tell? I just thought about it because Ro is here, and I bought something while I was at Scarif Con in 2022.
Yes.
2022.
Mm-hmm.
I will show it off. I'll show it off next week. But it was a tiki mug.
Oh, I got that right here.
Yeah, got one of those, and I got it signed by the actor. See, my stuff is not right next to my desk; it's all back there. Yeah.
It's the Mandalorian Tiki Cup by what's the name of the company?
Wiki
Beeline.
Tikis.
Beeline. It's a geeky tiki, yes, but it's
Geeky Tiki.
Yeah.
And the actor was Dominic.
Pace.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Where is Dominic's character? Here it is, right there.
Yeah.
He is the Gecko bounty hunter in the first season of The Mandalorian. And he came out to Chicago to hang out with us. It was a lot of fun. And these tiki mugs are really great. I have not used it because obviously I am an inbox collector. Yeah. I didn't get 2. He actually sold out rather quickly, so that was nice for him.
He did. Yeah, I had to be very quick. And what is that? Is that the Razor Crest?
That
Yeah.
is a
Look
Razor
at that.
Crest Tiki with shot glass. Heck yeah. I have quite a few of these. I love these things. These things are crazy. I love
Hey,
these
did you,
things. They're
did you
great.
send me that cookie jar yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
Now you want the cookie jar.
I mean, I don't know what I would put in it, but I mean, I can just drive up there and get it from you. It's not...
Or we'll come down there and see you and I'll bring it to you.
Oh, that's right. You still need to come visit Norman
I got it. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
before we leave, because yeah. All right.
Actually, Matthew's saying Dominic is such an awesome guy. He is. He's
He really is. Yeah.
down to earth. I have a custom Lego gecko action figure that's on a carded back signed by him, which is really cool.
Very cool.
I actually got it figured out.
There you go.
There we go. Got the hood figured out.
Nice. Very nice. All right. It's about time for our third and final tune of the evening before we jump into our discussion about Rebels, which is what everybody came here to see, if I'm sure, or not. I don't know. So this one comes to us from London, England. The name of the band, I'm going to butcher this because it's a very weird looking name. Qlowski, maybe. They have a new album coming out on November 1st. Fill It Records is putting out their album, The Wound. And this is a song from that album called Praxis.
Oh
and that was Qlowski. I'm guessing. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you this much: for somebody who didn't plan it to be a Halloween themed songs, you're freaking killing it, man.
I completely random in my music choices today,
Mm-hmm.
but now I will be more apt as stuff is sent to me to try to rummage through what is sent to me and try to get some more weird stuff.
We'll have a Rebel Rock Radio Halloween playlist at the end of the month.
Well, now you mentioned that, if you folks are on Spotify or Apple Music, what it used to be called iTunes, there is a Rebel Rock Radio soundtrack on the playlist on those formats, where you can listen to the music that we've played on this show, if they are available on those platforms. Every once in a while, I'll run into something that we played that's not on either one of them. I'm like, well, that's weird. But yeah. All right. It is time for Rebels. So,
The meat and potatoes of the evening.
Potatoes.
1 hour later.
1 hour later. That's about right. That's
pretty much par. That's pretty much par for the course for us.
Yeah, that's kind of on point. So, Rebel Season 2 premiered June 20th, 2015, with a 1 hour movie titled The Siege of Lothal. This TV movie was actually first shown at Celebration Anaheim that year on April 18th. I was not at Celebration Anaheim.
Not that one. I wasn't at that one.
No. Still, the only celebration I've still been at is the one in Chicago. So season 2 had a total of 22 episodes. With that in mind, we are not going to do this the same way we did last week. Last week we did like a rapid fire episode by episode retrospective and talked about each one. We're not going to be able to do that with 22 episodes. So I thought we discussed this over the last few days, and we decided we're going to talk about what we thought were some of the key episodes of the season, and more than likely that these will coincide, but some of our favorite moments of the season. So, are there any episodes? Let's start with you, Ro. Were there any episodes that you felt were either favorite episodes or key to the story?
I tweeted earlier. I think they really handled the appearance of Darth Vader well in this season. I think it's probably one of my favorite renditions of the character, even more so than a lot of the live action stuff. I think they had a very good mix of not overusing Vader. And then when they did use him, he was on point. He was decisive. He was badass. He was, don't take any prisoners sort of thing. I think they really hit it on the nail with adding Vader in this season of Rebels. Obviously one of my favorite characters of all fiction, whether it's Star Wars or not, but it was really great to see. And they, from beginning to end, I mean, that last episode where he where he comes down standing on his TIE fighter and faces Ezra and Kanan, right at the Sith temple is just, that's like boss mode right there.
Yeah, that's a good one. So there were. Go ahead, Jetty.
Oh, I said that was right up there with the hallway scene from Rogue One.
Yeah. And it's so interesting to see that in an animated venue, because I think, I remember saying, especially during Mandalorian season 3, that I'm enjoying the Star Wars animation more so than the live action. I think at the time we were watching Bad Batch, and I don't know. I think the writing of the animated shows has been pretty stellar, pretty top notch. More so than, like I said, than the live action stuff. It's definitely different, and I think having kind of a cohesive voice. And I know it's not a Gilroy that is related to the Gilroys of Rogue One and the Andor series, but I would say give anyone named Gilroy writing, writing any of the Star Wars. I think
For
really,
sure. Yeah.
I think Henry Gilroy was the main writer for Rebels, and then in season 2 he became the supervising writer for the show, and he came with a great track record, and I think he continued the work in season 2 and beyond, and it shows. It's really great.
Yeah, that is right. Dave Filoni and Henry Gilroy were the main writers of season 2. So yeah, he did him and Dave together. You really can't beat it. But yeah, season 2 had a lot of really cool cameos.
Mm-hmm.
And so we've got in episode 3, which was called episode 3 and 4 were kind of their own insulated story. It was Lost Commanders and Relics of the Old Republic, and that is where we got a cameo from Rex and the other. Yeah, right there. That would continue throughout the season. He basically, he becomes a mainstay on the show, and becomes a very important part of Ezra's life in general. So that was that was episode 3 and 4. There were a lot of great cameo appearances. There was
Lando.
Was Lando in season 2? I know he was in season 1, but
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was in season 2. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of Lando, Hondo started showing up in season 2.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
His first one was Brothers of the Broken Horn, but he kept popping up throughout the series after that. In Blood Sisters, we got the appearance of Ketsu Ono. Got a little bit of background into a favorite character, Sabine Wren. And we will get more discussion of her background later in the season. I'm trying to think of some other cameos. Princess Leia shows up like in episode around 12.
Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt's in this season.
What episode was that? See, now I got to look it up because I don't.
Mm-hmm. He was in this. He was in this. I think he was either.
I remember that Ezra would call himself Jabba the Hutt.
But Jabba was actually in this one. I think he was like a hologram, but he was in it.
And I can't remember it.
I can't remember which episode it was.
Princess Leia showed up. Finn Rao from Mandalore, Protector of Concord Dawn. Actually, I think this is where he first showed up. I don't think this was a cameo. This was like they were introducing that character. I don't think he was in Clone Wars. Finn Rao.
Oh.
I think this was his actual appearance.
Mhm.
Which, now that I'm thinking about it, I think Ketsu Onyo did not show up until this show as well. Trying to find appearances. Here we go. Appearances. Yeah, Star Wars Rebels. Yeah, that was her first appearance. I agree with that statement. Well, I was just playing with this. Yeah. I mean, it was Darth Vader we're talking about. He could have handled them just like that. Now in the finale, which was a 1 hour special, Twilight of the Appearance, we get the first appearance of Minnie from Darth Maul. So a lot of cool first appearances and cameos. We get the appearance. We get the first appearance of the Purrgil.
Mm-hmm.
About midway through the season, so they're going to make another appearance later in the show. Well, what about you, JD? Are there any episodes that are kind of near and dear to you or special about the season?
Shroud of Darkness for sure. Shroud of Darkness is the one where Ahsoka, Kanan, and Ezra all go back to the Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
And they all go through their respective little like trials or tests or whatever you want to call it. And Ahsoka has to deal with the realization that Vader is actually Anakin.
Yeah.
Ezra gets to meet up with Yoda again. And Kanan actually gets knighted as a Jedi, or is he get knighted? I think he gets knighted. He becomes a Jedi Knight by the
Inquisitor.
by the Inquisitor before he was an Inquisitor. So in essence, he's kind of a Darth Vader-esque character because he was a Temple Guard and he gets knighted by the Inquisitor, but it's not the Inquisitor when he's the Inquisitor. It's what he used to be before he became an Inquisitor and before he fell to the dark side. So it was like, what he was or what he could have been had he stayed as a Jedi Temple Guard, and he gets knighted by him. And anything, I mean, obviously anybody who's watched this show or watched some of our series on the Essence of Star Wars and like the Jedi and things like that, those are always my favorite episodes, and I always love the parallels and the teachings and the different things having to do with the Jedi and stuff like that. That is me, and that's why that episode was awesome. Now, Twilight of the Apprentice, both episodes 1 and 2, those were great. Parts 1 and 2, those were phenomenal. Those were phenomenal. I mean, because
really were. I mean, Kanan loses his eyes. Darth Maul shows up. I mean, Ahsoka.
We get
dies.
outside of cinema Star Wars, we get probably one of the most famous lines from a beloved character. And it's like on T-shirts, it's on memes, it's on posters, and it's just Ahsoka being a badass and saying, "I'm no Jedi," to Darth Vader, which means there are no rules. I will do what I have to do.
Yeah.
And that to me was just a kick-ass moment for her, and what kind of solidified for me that she is a good character. She was still like loyal to her teachings, but she was not a Jedi, but she was able to do what she needed to do and be aggressive, but not fall to the dark side, which made me hold her as that's what people like Qui-Gon Jinn, Ahsoka, a lot of these other Jedi-esque characters, what they could have been, would they have not been so strict about the way they had done their teachings, and it might have made it possible for them to survive Order 66. Had they taken her attitude, or had they listened to Qui-Gon or Ahsoka or a lot of these other people that said, "Hey, look, we're going in the wrong direction. We need to rethink this." And she is just, to me, she is just that antithesis of that part of the philosophy. And I loved it. It was great.
So this was the season, and it was actually that episode where they first showed up.
Yes.
With the helicopter.
Looking forward to seeing the helicopter lightsabers in live action.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'll probably be more controversial than bricks and screws. I wanted to double back and kind of add some more praise with what JD was talking about. You know, the Rebels. You know, it's been 10 years, but I think for anybody that doesn't watch the extra material and are only focused on the films, they are missing so much lore, especially with this series. This show introduced so much deeper Force lore than we've ever gotten. I think with you know, Kanan kind of exploring the Force and trying to teach Ezra some of the things that he knew, and all the stuff that kind of opens up. And then later, not only in this season but in subsequent seasons, when we get Palpatine back in the mix, and he tries to kind of, you know, ruffle some feathers. I think the story of Rebels, you know, besides it being what it is, you know, a story of this found family and how they struggle in a galaxy far, far away. I think, again, people that are not privy to some of the story arcs in this series, that really don't watch the animation or any of the extra stuff, they are really, really losing out. And just because, you know, just because the series is animated, you know, you get that connotation that, you know, these cartoons are for kids and stuff like that. Nothing can be further from the truth. These story arcs are integral to the characters that we know and love. Obviously, you know, the crew of the Ghost are new characters that have kind of been, you know, newly embedded in our psyche, along with some of the legacy characters that are part of the tapestry of Rebels, like you mentioned, you know, Jabba and Lando. Obviously, we're talking Vader. So I think this is kind of a perfect mix of old and new, which doesn't happen often in Star Wars, if I'm being truthful. But this is a really, really great way to kind of expand the story of that time frame, because we are in kind of a nice little sweet spot. You know, this is the the time where the Empire is strong. They rule with an iron fist, et cetera, et cetera. And Vader's around, and he makes it known that you know, you can't get away with stuff. So
Mhm.
I love the fact that, you know, people are enjoying a 10-year kind of revival of the series. And if you have not watched it, you know, there is a lot of Star Wars out there. You have to kind of be picky and lose hours of sleep for watching until 2, 3 in the morning, but it's definitely worth it.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think it
yeah,
really speaks. I think it really speaks to, like you said earlier, the writing, the animation, the lore, a lot of that shows like the Clone Wars and Rebels, that are animated shows that typically really have to touch people in order for them to stand up to the test of time, and people be like, oh, I want to watch the show again because it meant so much. And you know,
yeah,
it's not just
yeah.
one that happened back in the day and blah 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 blah. I want to watch it now because it has so much reference. And especially with like the Ahsoka show came out, and like even the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, when it came out, and there was references to like the Inquisitors and who they were and blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
You know, it really stands as a bedrock for those shows. And the fact that a cartoon did that, and then we get shows like Ahsoka and Obi-Wan and any future projects that come up, I think it says a lot about the writing and just the everything that was involved with the show to this day, you know, up to this time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Rebels was definitely, I mean, even compared to some live action, it's got some of the best writing in Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Agree.
What about you, Steve? What was your favorite episode?
Well, actually, before we get into that, I'm kind of bouncing off of something you said, because you mentioned a quote. And there was a quote that, although, you know, I've probably gone and watched the Rebels series maybe 3 or 4 times. I don't know. But it didn't really. There's a quote in. It's toward the end of the season when they're traveling to Malachor. But it's just a quote that I guess at the time when I was watching it before, it just kind of went over my head. Just didn't really think about it. But this time I'm watching it, and I'm sitting there watching it with my youngest, and this quote just hit me, and I'm just like, there was some special meaning behind that quote. And what it was is they're traveling to Malachor, and they're talking about Malachor itself, and I think it was Canaan. It had to have been Canaan that was talking about how everything they'd heard about it was just stories and myths and legends. And Ahsoka says there's always a bit of truth in legends.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as it stands, she was just making a point about the legend of Malachor. But being that this was Dave Filoni, I tend to wonder if he put that in there as like a nod to the EU fans.
I totally believe he did. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did.
And he demonstrated it. I mean, he's pulling stuff from Legends and Expanded Universe into the stories that he's writing now in Ahsoka and stuff like that. So he totally set that up and said, "Hey guys, this is what I'm going to be doing from now on."
But that quote just kind of like, I'm like, Dave.
Yeah.
I see what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, and he understood how disappointed people were when they said the EU doesn't matter anymore. Mm-hmm. I think he understood that. I think he understood that there's a lot of people who cherish those stories because if you grow up in the dark times or before the prequels came out, the EU and the subsequent novels that came out even during the prequel era, mm-hmm. those were some. I mean, for the people that read them, some of them were very beloved, and some of them people hated, like the Thrawn trilogy. They loved Thrawn. They loved the Thrawn trilogy, but when they wiped it all out, they're like, no way. They're taking out that character who is an awesome character.
Yeah.
And even me, who I knew a little bit about it, and I was like, I knew who Thrawn was, and I kind of read the background on him and who he was. I was kind of like, wow, they're going to wipe out that character. That's crazy. And then they decided to bring him back. That's deep. Man. That's deep, buddy. That's deep.
That's good. That's good.
But yeah, I mean, and then after that, they like you said, Ro, they just keep continuing to bring back as much of the EU as they can and continue to do that. And I'm really hoping that some of these like Origin of the Jedi movies or some of these Old Republic movies, if they start to bring them out, I really do hope that they just take the stories and just kind of rewrite them so they will work for the current universe.
I mean, the stories are already there. They were good stories, so
mm-hmm.
I don't know. But yeah, you were asking the favorites. I mean, I gotta go. Absolute favorite would have to be Twilight of the Apprentice. But another favorite is I don't know if this is out in left field or not, but the episode "The Honorable Ones" was one of my favorites from this season.
That was
that
was an interesting one that kind of spurred a lot of a little bit of hot takes between the two characters, Zeb and what's his name,
Agent Callus.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, this was just setting up what is to happen later in the show.
Yeah.
But I just really liked that it's that standard tale of, two enemies forced together and getting over their differences. And then that ending was like, they find Zeb and they're all happy and cheering and, just thank God we found you, and then Callus shows up and they're like, oh, yeah. It's like, Jesus, man. Like, yeah, they don't give a shit about you. I don't know. Just, I just really enjoyed that episode. I mean, there was a lot of good episodes. I mean,
yeah, there really were. Another episode that comes to mind, and for one specific reason, I remember watching towards the beginning the Legends of the Lasat, that episode, which is episode 14.
Yeah.
And there is a musical cue, a sequence when they are approaching the two suns over the planet that Kevin Kiner must have been there's some divine intervention there in the music composition. I was like just in complete awe listening to that soundtrack as the ship just kind of starts to float into view. Go back and watch that because that's when I realized, why isn't this guy doing movies, the Star Wars movies? Because it's amazing. And Star Wars, obviously, in any of the shows or series or anything like that, obviously Star Wars has always, or the music of Star Wars has always been an integral part of the storytelling. But in shows like this, especially when it's an animated show, I think the music really elevates the art form. And Kevin Kiner does such an incredible job in this series, and I hope to hear his music in live action, big screen movies in the future, because it's worth it. He's worthy of carrying that mantle.
That's good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm 100% behind that, because I truly believe that whether it's Star Wars, Indiana Jones, and I speak specifically about John Williams because John Williams is just amazing.
Sure.
But things like, you hear the Star Wars theme, you know exactly what it is. You don't have to have somebody tell you what it is. You know what it is.
The Imperial March.
Jaws. Yeah, Jaws. You know what Jaws is. When you hear that
Superman,
tone, that note, Superman, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
The list goes on and on and on of the different music that he's done. And everything is so recognizable. And like you said, even now with like The Mandalorian, people hear the Mandalorian theme and it's like, it's not as recognizable, but most people, if you've ever watched any of the Star Wars shows, you know that that's the Mandalorian theme.
Sure.
And it's carrying on to some of these great music artists who fulfill that obligation of not only having a good story and having the cinematics, but also having the appropriate music to go along with it to actually capture the whole essence of those scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great.
I remember listening to an interview of George Lucas when he was talking about the music for the first film back in the 70s. And, he says that he structured the film almost as a silent movie. You can actually just play the music and figure out what the story is going to be, figure out what the characters are and how the narrative plays. And you can, for us that listen to the soundtrack over and over and over again, we know exactly what scene is happening, what the actors are saying while we're listening to the music. Sometimes we mouth the lines ourselves because we're that nerdy, but it's true. It's you can't have one without the other, and Star Wars is definitely a testament to that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the force theme in Empire Strikes Back when he's lifting the ship out of the water. It almost as if the music is the words and it's telling the story of what's going on, and it's part of that that effect, and it's like, wow. Matthew
says the music of John Williams documentary comes out on Disney Plus November. I cannot wait, man. I cannot wait. That's a good one.
I think that's going to be good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And and even controversy aside about The Rise of Skywalker, it is kind of cool that they got him to actually be in it.
Oh yeah, finally.
Finally. He got to pay a cranky bartender, but he was in the movie, dang it.
Probably one of the best characters in the movie. No.
Oh, let's not go there.
No. I'm just messing with you. We all obviously will agree to disagree that that's still my favorite of the sequel trilogy. I know it's not yours, but yeah. And I know Rose's favorite is the Last Jedi.
I smelled and sensed a hint of what you were talking about earlier when you say they deconstruct characters for no reason. I sensed there was some angst and despair going on with a little hint of Last Jedi in there, but I was like, you know what? I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to cause a problem. I don't want it to be, don't want to be an argument.
Subvert this expectation, pal.
It's not going to go the way you think.
Another episode circling back to Star Wars Rebels.
Squirrel.
Yeah,
Squirrel.
Squirrel. We were there was a man, now I can't remember the name of the episode. I think it was Legacy. It's the one where he goes back to the Thaw because he's heard some information about his parents, Ezra, that is.
Yeah.
But this one in this season, I want to say it's Legacy, where he goes back there and
He finds out information about his parents.
Well,
He finds out what happened to his parents.
He does, but and that is important. But what I was thinking is that he meets a character that we wind up getting a live action version of. But he's first shows up in this show. Ryder, Governor Ryder, who shows up later in the Ahsoka show, played by the same actor that voiced him, Clancy Brown, who has been in more than one Star Wars product. He was also in The Mandalorian. He was in.
Yeah, he was the Devronian, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the rescue, the one when they were rescuing the Twi'lek's brother. Yeah, he was the Devronian.
Yeah, but so we get this Governor Ryder who turns out we didn't know at first he was the governor before the Empire took over, but here's this important character to the planet, and he shows up throughout the series as well. But not only that, like they bring him back as live action, which I thought was really cool. That he got to play. I think that was close to being one of his last roles, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well, no. He.
Oh no, he's not dead. He's not dead.
He's not dead. I was gonna say he was in John Wick 4, so he was also in John Wick 4.
Yeah,
I don't think he passed away.
No, I was thinking of somebody else. Thank God. Yeah, he wasn't in John Wick Chapter 4. Great movie. He is also in. I don't know if any of you have been watching it, but he is in the Penguin TV show on HBO Max.
Yeah, he plays. What's the character he's in jail?
Maroni.
Yeah.
Maroni. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure why I thought he was dead. I must be thinking of somebody else, but I don't know. Anyway, any other favorite episodes you can think of, Ro? Or moments, not necessarily just an episode.
I mean, really, the chat was talking about it earlier. Just the fight between Vader and Kanan and Ezra. I mean, were really great. The Inquisitors, when Ahsoka fights the Ninth Sister, I mean, that was pretty damn great.
Yeah,
those are some really, really good moments.
Kanan beating Maul even though he's blind.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, honestly, even though it was short, the fight between Ahsoka and Vader.
Yeah.
It had.
It had everybody scratching their heads for a while, for sure.
It had this. I mean, it's impactful. The old story, master and versus apprentice, and she.
So the apprentice lives.
Yeah.
Another good line from that battle is that Vader reveals to Ahsoka that he killed Anakin, just like he did to Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
I killed Anakin Skywalker, and now he is, I'm what took his place. And then she says, then I will avenge him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Revenge.
That right before.
Way.
Yeah, right before she says, I'm no Jedi, she says, I will avenge him. And then he says that. And then she says, I am no Jedi. That whole sequence is like, yes, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a pretty good fight scene, even though it wasn't visually like.
You know, I
Well,
remember.
It wasn't
I
a great lightsaber duel. It was just
Well, here's the thing. I remember people being bent out of shape over the look of the lightsaber in the show. It was like people were saying they're just
thin.
too thin. And I mean, you know, each animated show in Star Wars has had their own specific style. And I obviously Rebels is one of them. I think each one starts on a different level. I didn't mind the thinness of the lightsaber. I mean, you know, obviously we're not going for photorealistic or live action. Um, but I think they did quite well. And obviously when later in the season, when we get, and I think it's actually in Clone Wars, the final season where they do some motion capture of Darth Maul, Ray Parks to use for the final battle between him and Ahsoka. I think that was a genius move too. But I think season 2 of Rebels is pretty top tier.
Mm-hmm. Well, and something I heard too somewhere is that in this show, there's a lot of references to a lot of Ralph McQuarrie's work
Yes.
from the original movies. A lot of his concept art, a lot of the different things that he came up with, like they even used like what was it? One of the brothers, not the eighth brother, is it the eighth brother? I'm not sure, but the one that had the big crown on his head. That
Mhm.
was actually unused material from The Force Awakens, and so they used it in the show. But there was a lot of references to Ralph McQuarrie's concept art, and they used a lot of it. And one thing that I did hear is the reason why the lightsabers were so thin and weren't real thick in the brighter versions of them was it was kind of an Easter egg to the original concepts of the lightsabers. Like, so if you watch the original movie A New Hope back in the day, the lightsabers were actually pretty darn thin. And so it was kind of a going back to that, to the original concept art and showing them a little smaller and that sort of thing. And so I heard that somewhere. I don't know if that's the truth. And like you said, it could be just the style that they decided to do.
But it makes sense.
Really, yeah. But
Yeah.
it really, in the grand scheme of things, it didn't. That was kind of minor in comparison to how the stories went and the stories that were told. The found family, the master and apprentice, the apprentice becoming the master so that he could fulfill his teachings to Ezra, and going back in the histories and learning more about these characters in their past, and then Zeb finding out that there are members of his species still alive and they will be able to carry on these kind of concepts, these kind of things. In the grand scheme of things, that's really kind of minor. And
Sure.
Irregardless of what you felt about the Acolyte, that's kind of what some people did with the Acolyte, is they harped on one little thing and went crazy about it and said, oh, this destroys everything, blah, 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 blah. No, that one little thing is not that big of a deal based on the overall scheme and what really happened.
Yeah, you take a look at Darth Vader's design in these episodes, and it is a clear callback to Ralph McQuarrie's initial design for Darth Vader's helmet.
yeah.
The ridge is a lot more protruded. It's pointy. It's deep. The facial lines are more prominent. So yeah, definitely take a look at that. And I think it's they did a really good job. Another focal point in Twilight of the Apprentice is when Ezra picks up an old abandoned lightsaber and he realizes it's a cross guard. I think we see Kylo scarred lightsaber. We hadn't seen it since The Force Awakens, I think. And it's not the first appearance. I think, was it Force Awakens came out first, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Force Awakens came out.
Yeah.
Force Awakens came out first, and then Dave Filoni threw it in there because they always said, well, that was just something new that they threw in there as a gimmick. But they were actually trying to establish a little bit more with that, saying that it's not the first time that crossguard lightsabers had actually been used. But at the same time, it was like the same thing they did with like Darth Maul's double-bladed lightsaber, and then they showed the Temple Guards who had the fold-down double-bladed lightsabers and stuff like that. Yeah. It's they've tried to establish that before, that it's not a new thing.
The double-bladed lightsaber comes from Expanded Universe too. So
yeah,
I mean the double-bladed lightsaber was around long before Darth Maul showed up.
Mm-hmm. But for those who didn't read the books or the comics and didn't know about it,
right,
they had to throw a better frame of reference in there. And I say better because, like I said, obviously a lot of people didn't read the books, so I mean they didn't know that.
Right. Yeah.
Sucks to be them.
Yeah. Exactly.
100%.
Why didn't you read? So I'm trying to think. There was another. Do you
See,
have
I
any
know
other?
Smirking Bear said something about everybody thought for the longest time that was the big controversy behind this season was whether Sokka had lived or
Oh,
not after the
oh
battle was over with. And I know that's something we'll talk about next season and all that kind of stuff, but my hot take, and we'll talk about it later in depth, but my hot take was that I don't think that she actually ever died to begin with. I think it was just they weren't going to show her as being dead. They were just wanted everybody to think that she was dead.
Sure. Yeah.
My hot take though.
So you think that there was still enough light left in Darth Vader that he would not have killed her?
Yeah. 100%. I think so.
Okay. Not a bad theory.
Yeah.
Well, JD, any other highlights that you can think of?
I did like the modified ATTE that they turned into a house.
Oh,
That
yeah.
was pretty cool because I do like those walkers and they are pretty neat. And they turned the one into a base and a house. That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a pretty slow. I mean, if you're trying to stay tactical and you're trying to keep off the radar, that's kind of a slow way of doing it. But it's pretty cool. I thought it was kind of neat. It was kind of what's that? The one with the moving cities, that the movie that bombed horribly, but it had the cool moving cities on it. That was kind of neat.
Oh man.
I can't remember the name of the movie. I watched it and it was like, yeah, it was horrible acting and story, but it was actually the concept
was that a Denis Villeneuve movie?
Yeah, what the heck was it? The one with the cities on wheels and stuff like that. I can't remember the name of the movie now. It escapes me. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't
think of it. But that's kind of when that movie came out, I was like, man, that kind of reminds me of when they made a house out of an ATT. It's kind of cool. Yeah.
That was episode 3, The Lost Commanders.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was what's that, episode 3?
Yeah, I'm looking at IMDb here.
Oh, okay. So you I'm trying to think of some other ones that popped out there. Well, I mean, the Protector of Concord Dawn does play a more significant role in later later episodes coming later, but in the series.
Oh, is this the season where we get the singing droid in space?
I don't think so. No, I don't think that's this one.
AP5.
This is the one. This is the one where Chopper makes a higher kill count than most other characters in Star Wars. Man, I'm just saying. He solidified himself as a jerk in this season. I'm going to tell you that.
Oh, we knew he was a jerk long before.
Yeah, but when you kill 400,000 people, I mean, maybe it might have solidified. Maybe it might change things just a little bit. That I heard was one of the conservative estimates of how many people he actually killed when he blew up that one ship. It was somewhere in the 400,000 range. I was like, right on, okay.
Well, all right then. Any others that you can think of?
No.
The one where we get to actually meet Hera Syndulla's parents.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah, when we get to and you find out a little bit more backstory on her.
Where everybody sounds French. Was that the one?
Yeah.
Yep. But that was something. I mean, that's something even we talked about last week too, Steve, was the fact that this season kind of touched more on the history of the different characters and kind of went back and told some of their backstories. When we get, like some of the even backstory on Sabine, and we get it on we get to meet Hera's parents. We get to see kind of some of the impacts and things that went on with Zeb, and Chopper's just Chopper, and then
Yeah.
that kind of thing, and then like Kanan, and then things with Ezra when we finally figure out what happened to his parents, and then that sort of thing moving on. And it's cool because we get to meet the like I said, the whole concept of found family, that they've all lost something, but they found each other, which is a core tenet, I think, for Star Wars, is that just this galactic civil war and this war altogether, and the conflict and everything is where they people, when you don't have your families or you lost people, you find people to fill those voids, but they kind of gravitate towards one another in different ways. And like the crew of the Ghost, that's kind of what happened with them, is that idea.
Yeah.
It's so touching.
Aww.
It warms my nards.
Nards. Woo.
Oh, there you go.
Nards.
What was it? Battlefield Earth?
Nope, it wasn't Battlefield
No.
Earth. It was
Because that movie really sucked.
And I can picture the scene too, where I thought, oh wow, this is pretty cool. But yeah, the movie was not that great. And I don't think it was a Dennis Villeneuve film, because I'm looking at his
Mortal Engines.
Yes.
Oh,
Mortal Engines.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the name of the movie, Mortal Engines.
Yeah.
Which is the concept of it was cool, and the sky cities, and then the cities on wheels, because they can't stay on the ground, they have to keep moving, and they have these giant cities. Cool concept. Horrible execution.
Well, yeah. I mean, I never went and saw it, but I originally I remember thinking I wanted to go see it because it had Hugo Weaving in it, and he's typically, in good movies. But then I heard so many bad things about it from, like, usually if somebody tells me a movie's bad, I'll be like, yeah, I'll make my own decision. But I heard so many. I was like, maybe I'll watch it some other time.
If you're wanting to go for the high quality acting and that sort of thing, don't watch it for that purpose. Just watch it for the cool effects and the cinematics. Because other than that, it was like, oh God, what is this?
Yeah, if you have to go see the second Joker, go ahead. But
But yeah, anyway, that's what it reminded me of when I saw Mortal Engines. When I thought back to the ATTE moving house episode, I was like, that's freaking cool. I like it. So,
too funny.
man.
So no, I mean, this whole season was just full of, like I said, a lot of deep dive concepts, a lot of lore and history, a lot of things that our backgrounds of these characters that we now have established, and the fact that we got some awesome battle scenes and just some great duels from lightsabers, just and a lot of these characters coming back to bring them into it. And it's not just one of them things where they bring the characters in just because they go, oh, hey, let's just throw this dude in randomly. They actually had something going on, and there was a reason for them to be there, like the clone troopers, like Maul, and some of those guys, And like you said, the good use of Vader throughout the whole thing. It just, it solidified the show as being much more than just an animated TV show. It solidified it as being really good storytelling and a really good integral part of the Star Wars universe. I in my opinion.
Absolutely.
What he said.
Yeah. Ditto.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that is we can call it a night on that one. Good show. Thanks for coming on and hanging out with us, Ro.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming, buddy.
Always a lot of fun talking some Star Wars with some fellow nerds.
Yeah.
Or just some fellow nards.
No nerds. No. Wait a minute.
I said that with a southern accent. Sorry.
So next week we will be back to talk mostly season 3 stuff. So make sure you tune in. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us in the chat room, and thank you for those listening on Apple, or there's not very many of you out there, but thank you to everybody that watches this on YouTube. Make sure that you are subscribing and make sure you hit that like button. And if you feel so inclined, make sure you go check out our Patreon. And I don't know, give us a couple bucks.
Matthew, I was thinking the same thing.
I
was thinking the same thing,
I
Matthew.
don't think that noise came from me. I think it was from one of you.
It wasn't me.
No.
You can tell because Ro and me both had the same
We're like,
expression. We're like,
yeah,
what the hell?
Is that
Steve was
Steve's
just kinda like,
vibrator?
yeah, we're just going on with the show.
I have no idea what that was.
What are you sitting? What are you sitting on?
That's a thing. That's a thing he wants to. He doesn't want to admit he has.
Unless it has a Star Wars logo on it, then that'll be the next week's show and tell.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I am.
There it goes again.
Okay, so I am. I think I was telling JD this. My office is right next to the laundry room, and somebody decided Tuesday at 6:00 was a great time to do laundry.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounded like. Yeah,
that makes sense.
All right, save. We believe you, Steve.
Sure. It's a laundry room.
Yeah.
Vibrator part due.
Anyway.
All right. Well, thanks for listening. Come back next week. We'll talk some more Rebels. Again, thanks for coming on, Ro. And everybody, check out the Scarif Scuttlebutt podcast. I have a link to that YouTube channel in the show description, so that you are able to go and check that one out on a weekly basis or more. And we'll see you next week. Have a good one, folks.